Just imagine for a second that right beneath our feet lie the ruins of cities far older than anything we can comprehend. Picture ancient engineers moving stone blocks that weigh hundreds of tons with a kind of precision we can barely even match today. Now, here's the really chilling part. What if it has all happened before and then just vanished, almost without a trace? This, right here, is the story of a history we were never told.
What if we're not so special? What if over the vast, unimaginable stretches of Earth's history, other advanced, technologically brilliant societies have risen up, only to fall? And what if all those stories, the ones about great floods, about a golden age that was lost, what if they aren't just stories? What if they're the last, faded memories of a world that was wiped clean? And the big one, what if the very same cycle that destroyed them is about to happen all over again to us? All right, so to even begin to wrap our heads around these questions, we first have to grapple with the sheer mind-boggling scale of our planet's history and how brutally effective it is at wiping the slate clean. Let's try a little thought experiment. Let's squeeze Earth's entire 4.5 billion year history into a single 24-hour day. The first, simplest life doesn't even show up until 4 in the morning. The dinosaurs? They arrive super late to the party, at 11 p.m., and they're gone just 45 minutes later. Our species, Homo sapiens, we don't appear until there are literally 4 seconds left on the clock before midnight.
That's right, 4 seconds. And in the final, tiny fraction of that final second, everything we call recorded history happens. The pyramids, the Roman Empire, the Industrial Revolution, the internet, all of it. Which leaves a truly astonishing amount of time for other stories to have played out. Stories that have long since been erased. Now, mainstream science says nothing happened in all that time, but how can we be so sure? Our planet is a living, breathing, violent thing. Tectonic plates shift, dragging entire continents under. Ice ages grind mountains down to dust. Sea levels rise and fall, swallowing coastlines. Honestly, if a civilization just like ours disappeared today, in 10 million years, you'd be lucky to find a single trace. But some things can survive. You see, time has a much harder time destroying stone. And it's in these massive stone structures that we find these tantalizing clues that the official story of our history might be missing a few pretty important chapters. These are the things that just don't fit, the glitches in the matrix of history. Take Göbekli Tepe in Turkey. It's this massive, complex temple built 12,000 years ago, supposedly by simple hunter-gatherers. That's like finding blueprints for a skyscraper in a caveman's toolkit. Or look at Pumapunku in Bolivia, where you have these 100-ton stone blocks cut with laser-like precision. And of course, the Great Pyramids, aligned to the stars with an accuracy that is just breathtaking. And here is where it gets really interesting. There's a common thread that ties so many of these places together. From Stonehenge to Angkor Wat, ancient builders all over the world were obsessed with the cosmos. They built complex astronomical knowledge right into their structures, all of them pointing to the stars. So the question is, were they just stargazing, or were they trying to tell us something? Remembering a time when the heavens literally fell? And this brings us from physical evidence to cultural evidence. What if these sites aren't just observatories? What if they're monuments to a time when the sky fell and the world was completely remade by fire and water? It's honestly incredible when you dig into it. Over 500 cultures around the globe, many with absolutely no possible way of contacting each other, tell a shockingly similar story, a great flood that wiped out almost everyone. The names are different, the details change, but the core story, it's the same. Is that really just a coincidence? Or is it a shared global memory of something that actually happened? And here's the thing. The geology, the hard science, it actually backs this up. The end of the last ice age was an unbelievably violent time on Earth. Huge ice dams burst, unleashing inland tsunamis that scoured the land. And there's more and more evidence pointing to a possible comet slamming into the Earth around 12,800 years ago, an event that would have kicked off global firestorms, mega tsunamis, and a sudden, catastrophic deep freeze. And the result of all that ice melting so suddenly? Global sea levels rose by over 100 meters. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. Any advanced civilization that lived on the vast, fertile coastal plains of that era would have been completely and totally submerged, wiped clean from the map and from history.
Okay, so the people are gone, their cities are underwater, but what if little fragments of their knowledge, their science, somehow survived, passed down like a secret and preserved in some really perplexing maps and ancient texts?
Check this out, the Piri-Reis map, drawn in 1513. It shows the coast of South America with an accuracy that just shouldn't have been possible back then. But here's the real kicker. It also seems to show the coastline of Antarctica, but without any ice. For that to have been mapped, someone would have had to see it more than 6,000 years ago. Piri-Reis himself wrote on the map that he copied it from much, much older source maps. So, whose maps were they?
And it's not just maps. You read ancient texts like the Indian epic, the Mahabharata, and you find these descriptions of weapons that sound eerily, terrifyingly like model nuclear bombs. Are these just wild exaggerations? Or are they echoes of a lost, high-tech war and the apocalypse that ended it?
So all of this, it kind of forces us to look in the mirror and ask a really, really uncomfortable question. If a sophisticated global civilization could rise and then be wiped out before us, what in the world makes us think the same thing can't happen to us? Now, before you dismiss this, you should know that this isn't just fringe thinking. There's a thought experiment from NASA scientists called the Silurian hypothesis. It asks, what would an industrial civilization actually leave behind in the geological record after millions of years? And the answer is almost nothing. Maybe a thin layer of weird plastics or a spike in carbon, traces that we could easily mistake for a natural event. It's a powerful reminder. The absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. And when you look at why great civilizations from our known history fall, you start to see a disturbing pattern. The Maya, the Romans, the people on Easter Island, they grew too fast, they burned through their resources, and they failed to adapt when a crisis finally hit. Does that sound at all familiar? It really should. It's a cycle that just seems to repeat itself. And our civilization, for all its amazing power, is incredibly fragile. We face the same old natural threats our ancestors did. You know, giant asteroids, supervolcanoes, but we've added a whole new menu of self-inflicted dangers. Our global system is so complex, but that very complexity is also its greatest weakness.
So here's the bottom line. We might just be the very first civilization with the scientific ability to understand these cycles of catastrophe and collapse. The ancient builders, they left us messages in stone, maybe desperate warnings for the future. We know the risks. We can see the patterns repeating. The only real question is, what are we going to do about it? What will our message to the future be? Another story of failure, or proof that this time, finally, the cycle was broken?